In this video, we're going to be testing the gauge clusters for your 5th gen Ram HD trucks. So we're going to do a complete showdown on every gauge cluster that's available for these trucks, your instrument panel if you want to call it that also. So let's get straight into the video. We're going to test them all, see which ones work, which ones don't work, and that way you guys can upgrade your gauge cluster. All right, and here we go, you guys. So this is going to serve, I hope, as the ultimate showdown test for all of your gauge clusters. Starting off from the left is your base, and then to your right, your most premium models. So this is the cluster that we just took out of the truck. This is your base model 5th gen HD cluster. Doesn't have much of a screen. You can see it's got that tiny screen in the middle there. This has the depth gauge. That's going to be important in just a second. So this one has the depth gauge, but it's very limited in the middle. Not a whole lot of options or menus to go through. So as we progress over here, I got these ones from salvage yards. You can see the pigtails are still cut off of them. I want to get you guys on a little tip here also. See how these ones, I'm actually probably going to return these because they are in much worse shape than I originally was told when I purchased them. But if you get these, and a lot of the salvage yards are not careful at either taking them out of the vehicles or packaging them, but see all these scratches here? If you look on the back of the gauge, see all these clips? From your base model cluster, as long as yours is in good shape, which mine is, you can actually unclip the lens and then clip it back on here. Also, you can see even some dirt. I don't know if you guys will be able to see that, but there's dirt in behind there. Same deal. If you're gonna clean these off, don't use a blue towel like that. Use a soft microfiber towel because these are really easy to scratch. But what we have here is, this is a diesel cluster. One of the ways you can tell which cluster you're looking at when you're shopping is the RPM. So you'll notice our red line is just over 3,000 here, and then the tach only goes to 5. Also, you got your def gauge here, so you'll see that little def symbol at the bottom there, and your def gauge. And then what we have above it is also a premium cluster, but this is from a gasser. So you notice that the tach goes up to 7,000. And then over here, instead of your def gauge, you've got your temperature gauge. So why would you want to do one or the other? These ones are a little bit harder to find sometimes from the HD trucks, because you can get a 2500 in a gas truck like this. So that's what this one would be from. These ones are sometimes cheaper to find. Maybe if you've done certain modifications to your vehicle and you don't want your depth gauge to be reading 0 all the time, maybe having your temperature gauge on an actual physical gauge might be of importance to you. But what I want to kind of debunk on this, and I hadn't seen any information when I made this video, is if we put a gasser cluster into our Cummins powered vehicle, will all the messages show up? You know, will we see our engine brake or exhaust brake on? All those types of messages, will they show up on this digital screen, or will it not show anything at all? So it's nice to know if your exhaust brake is on or not on. The cluster, even the base one, shows that, but will the gasser show that? That's what I want to find out. And then moving over to here, we've got a limited cluster. So this one's pretty straightforward. It just looks really nice. All the numbers are a different font. So when you get all the way up into the clusters, even the Laramie cluster here, it still just has your basic numbers on it, but then you get into the limited one. That's when you get the nicer faces, kind of a little bit more sporty number, if you will. And then of course this one is from diesel, so it's got the def gauge. So this one is pretty self-explanatory, but I do want to show you guys kind of how they all look and how they all perform. So I'm going to show you guys how to swap them out, how to remove it. Let's cut to the video on how to remove it real quick, and then we'll get to testing all these in, and then I will also program it, show you guys how to program your odometer when you get the new one. Just make sure when you take your old one out that you record the mileage, because you're going to need it when you program the new one. Also, some people like to record and program the engine hours with Alpha OBD. Sometimes you can and sometimes you can't. And you will also need a bypass cable, or you have to bypass your security gateway in order to program anything. So also I'll link above here where you guys can go watch the video on how to install the bypass module and make sure that you can actually program any of this stuff, because you will need that. 2018 and up vehicles do need that bypass. So let's get straight into it. Let's pop in. I want to try first the gasser one. We know the diesel one's going to work as it should. Let's try this gasser cluster and see if our exhaust brake messages populate when we plug it in. Okay, so moment of truth here. We're gonna get the cluster in like that. Come in on that angle. Make sure your steering wheel is fully tilted down, because it's gonna give you the most room to work up here. We're gonna plug this in. I'm not gonna worry about programming the mileage. We'll do that at the end of the video. But I do want to see if it will show the exhaust brake message. So right away, much nicer looking screen than the standard one. without a shadow of a doubt. So let's go ahead, let's put this, there you go, Ram 3500 heavy duty. Let me close my door here. Man, it's so much nicer of a screen, you guys. Surprisingly, you can't see all the scratches that I was just showing you guys when this thing is illuminated. So let's go ahead, again, this is the gasser one. So let's see, when we put this in run, what messages, oh, look at that. So we do have the exhaust brake message right there. So it will show on the screen, you guys. Very, very interesting. So oil change required, that's gonna show up no matter what. Look at that, full exhaust brake. So it will show. So if you wanna get a gasser cluster, you can, which is kind of interesting. So you gain the full sweep temperature gauge, and there it is there. So if I go over here to my exhaust brake and I cycle through, look at that, automatic exhaust brake on, off, full. So everything will show. That is pretty dang cool. So the only drawback to this is your resolution on your RPM is going to be a lot less. So as you can probably imagine, so it's only going to go up to 3, so you're only going to be using not even 50% of the sweep. Unless you got some crazy modded diesel engine, you're not going to be getting into anywhere in this range over there. But there you go. So there you have it. You can actually run one of these gasser clusters. So let's pop through some of the menus here. I'm new to this also. Look at that, our diesel's showing up there, no problem. Fuel economy, we got that all populating. Our trip info, trailer tow, Apple CarPlay, oil change. That one's gonna pop up no matter what screen you put in. As soon as you put it in, you're gonna have to mess with that. So here's all our vehicle info, our coolant temp. Man, the screen is so much nicer looking, you guys. Look at that, even our boost pressure. So of course, if it was coming off a 6.4 HEMI, it's not gonna have a boost, at least stock it wouldn't, but it is populating here. Diesel particulate filter, so that's all showing up, all your messages, your oil life. Like I said, this one, you can literally just reset it right here. And then that's the end of that one. Let's see what else we got. Fuel filter life, so even our fuel filter life for our HD diesel stuff, battery voltage, exhaust brake, so that's showing up there. All your standard stuff, and then your driving hours, which I was kind of mentioning to you guys. So this is pretty cool. You can actually run a gasser cluster. So that answers that. Can you run a gasser cluster in your diesel truck? Answer is yes, and you'll have all the messages for your exhaust brake and everything. So if you guys want to go out and find a gasser cluster for cheaper, not worried about the def gauge here, then you can. I also want to show you guys this. So when you go into your setup menu, when the engine's off, but in the run position, when you go in here, all of your gauges here, like this one, these 4 corners, when you go into these menu, so your lower right, you can change these and actually put a bunch of stuff that has to do with a diesel. So when we get down here, our boost pressure, so we can keep our boost pressure gauge down in here, our exhaust brake, our fuel filter life. So you can have all the same things with your diesel down there. That distance to empty one's pretty nice too. So your range, your miles per gallon, current mile per gallon, your trip meter. So you can put all that stuff in the corners. And like I said, all the diesel stuff does work. So that answers that question right there. All right, well, that worked out a lot better than I expected as far as putting one of these gasser clusters in there. I'll have to decide, I guess, which one I prefer. I think since I got the limited one, that's gonna be the one to go to, but it really depends if you want the depth gauge or the temperature gauge, and if you're okay with giving up a little bit of resolution on your RPM. So let's go ahead, we're gonna disconnect this one, and let's put the diesel one in, see if it looks the same, see if there's any difference other than the physical gauges over here on this side, and let's check it out. All right, so here we go. This is our premium diesel one, so we got more resolution on our RPM, and we've got the depth gauge. So I'll plug this one in, see if it looks any different besides, like I said, the RPM and the depth gauge. Okay. It made a funny ticking sound when it first started up. Okay, so looks pretty similar here. Let's go ahead, cycle the key to run. Let's close I feel like this one sounds different, the dinging, the door chime to me. So 3500 heavy duty. To me it looks pretty similar. So the configuration might be different. So DPF. We got our trailer menu. So I'm just cycling through all the buttons. Everything looks identical, you guys. Exhaust brake. I don't see any additional menus. So it might take a minute for our tire pressure and stuff to actually register with this cluster because we're kind of hot swapping them here. Let's see here. So we got our boost pressure. Let's cycle through all the same stuff. There's really no added things. Let's see on the custom gauges for a sec, see if there's anything else there just for any strange reason. Okay, so we'll go into the setup menu. Let's go to the lower right again. Jump into this menu. We'll see. Transmission temp, coolant, trailer trip, trailer brake, oil life, boost pressure, exhaust brake, fuel filter. It's all exactly the same, you guys. Time, range to empty. Yep. No difference. And then if we push our exhaust brake button, now let's put it in the run position. So let's pop out of this menu for a second. Oil change required. Exhaust brake. It's really all the same. Okay, so the messaging all looks the same. No difference on any of this, you guys. Alright, so not a whole lot to see here. So let's put in my limited cluster because that's the one that I want. And then I'll show you guys how to program whatever cluster you ultimately end up choosing to go with. Okay, now we're gonna plug in our limited cluster. So we'll see how this one looks. Okay, let's see what animation we get. We might have to go into Alpha OBD settings, and then that's another test as far as getting the splash screens to change. Okay, so we're just getting the 3500 heavy duty message right now. So anyways, here's the limited cluster. Let's go ahead, jump into the programming, and then what I will also do is we'll try some of the different splash screens, see if we can get those to populate. And then I'll also let you guys know if they will populate on the other two clusters, the premium ones. I'm sure they will, but we'll check just to rule out everything we possibly can on this video. So under the dash, you're gonna plug in your dongle for Alpha OBD. So I'll link these down in the description below where you can grab them. You're also gonna need Alpha OBD, and let's jump into the programming. All right, so jumping right into the programming, you're gonna have to connect to your body control module. So starting right from the basics, I'll disconnect. So select Ram 3500 or whatever your vehicle is, body computer, go down here, select your year, and then you're gonna hit connect. So take a few seconds, let that connect. Then you're gonna go over here to this little car. If I'm going too fast, just slow the video down or rewind it. I wanna keep going so that I can keep this video short and to the point. So you can always rewind if you need to. Car configuration change. Then you're gonna go over here. And first off, let's go ahead and check our splash screen because that's what I was most interested in, and then we'll get into the mileage stuff. There you go, splash screen type. If you look into here, vehicle brands, all these different things, let's see what it shows. Okay, so it's set up for vehicle brand. We can go over here and we're gonna look up special package. So special package, we go here, there's all kinds of stuff. So depending on what you guys want yours to say, you know, Power Wagon Laramie, yada yada yada, I'm gonna put limited on mine in my case. So let's go ahead, I'm gonna change this. So right now it just says DT base, we're gonna say limited. So there we go. We're gonna hit next. It's gonna change that. And then we're gonna go special package, vehicle config 2, special package. We're also gonna set this one to limited. Let's start. So right now it's set to RAM 3500. This one's probably the one that's showing up on our screen, just RAM 3500. As soon as we change this to limited, then it should populate. So procedure completed. So this is going to take a little bit here for the actual instrument panel to take those changes into effect. You might have to turn the vehicle off, let it sleep for a while until this refreshes, and then it should take effect. Check that out. It was pretty much instant. I don't know if you guys saw that, but as soon as we turned it on, look at that. It took effect pretty fast on this one. Limited. That's pretty dang cool. So let's see what other splash screens there are. See if we like some different ones. If we go over here, I know some of you guys like Power Wagon. I'm not really big on the Power Wagon, but let's see. I'm sure you could call it a TRX if you wanted to. Let's see. Right now it's limited. Let's see if TRX won't work, because I know people would like that. Even though I wouldn't run it personally, I know people would probably be into that. Let's see. See if it'll show up. No, it just shows 2500 heavy duty when you do that. Okay. So that screen isn't going to show for you guys. Sorry to burst your bubble. Maybe you guys can get it to work, but just trying it right there. Wasn't happening. Let's see what other models there might be, or splash screens. Power Wagon, Laramie. I'm sure some of you guys are probably into that. Let's see. Okay, Power Wagon, Laramie. Let's see what that one does or doesn't look like. Might take a minute to come into effect. You might honestly have to change both of them for it to actually take effect. Let's see. We'll go back to here, special. Let's put Power Wagon, Laramie here too. You might need them in both spots for it to actually work. Okay, Power Wagon, Laramie. Take two. So, might take a minute, you guys. Let's see what we got. No, not liking the Power Wagon one yet. Alright, let me show you guys how to program your mileage into the cluster next. So you're going to go into your Alpha OBD, go back here, you're going to find instrument panel, select that, go over here, go to your year range, so it's going to be 2013 plus, connect, let it connect, then you're going to go over here, car with the hood popped, procedure, scroll down to the bottom somewhere, odometer correction, and then enter mileage, so you're going to put your mileage into there. But this is actually in kilometers. So you'll see here 175,660 miles. So we're gonna have to do the conversion into kilometers. Even though it says miles, it's actually in kilometers. So we'll have to do that again. So let's back up out of there. So we'll take the calculator and do a conversion into kilometers. Look at that. On iPhone, if you actually hold down the number, it says 282,789 miles is actually 455,104 kilometers. So let's go ahead and put in that number. Odometer correction, 455,104. Okay. So go ahead, turn it on, turn it off, turn it off, turn it on, follow the instructions. We're gonna hit OK. Started, please wait. I'll let it do its thing. There we go. So you can see the mileage rolling around over there. So there we go. We got 282,000 miles on there now. So that's all in check now. And then if you want, you can also program the hours. I'll show you guys where you can fix that also. All right, so to do engine hours, program customer features, and then you're gonna go select option, and then lifetime engine hours, lifetime idle hours. So that's where you click on that, and you can put those two in also. All right, so you can see my engine hours here, and it's kind of weird the way it works. So turn key to off, and then let it turn on. So we just finished doing that, let all the checks go, and then we hit OK. So you can see here, started, please wait. So engine hours, that's your total at the bottom. So that's your total number is what you're gonna put as engine hours, and then idle hours. So the drive hours are gonna get subtracted from the two, but you're putting your total and you're putting your idle hours, and that's the one. And then the cluster is gonna do this boot up. We got the limited screen back because I just switched it back to limited. Let's see if it populated. Still no, but it might take multiple tries to get this to show. It's always been kind of finicky. It's just kind of the way it is. Some people will end up not being able to program those, but I will let you know now that programming the hours here is kind of finicky. All right, I'm still battling with the engine hours, but what I do want to do is right now the limited screen pops up. I'm sure you guys want to know on the base screens if you can get it to say limited. I know, but I'm sure there's some people that want to see. So right now the truck is configured for limited. It shows up on the limited screen. Let's plug in one of those premium clusters and see if it still shows limited. Let's try it on the gasser just for fun. Okay, so we just hot swapped in the premium gasser cluster. Let's see if we can give it a few key cycles, if it will all of a sudden say limited. Oh, you guys saw it. It showed limited right away. I don't know what the sequence is of how you get it to say limited or not limited, but I did see it show up just there. Oh. You like open the door on these newer trucks? Normally when you turn the key on, it would show it. But yep, it will show. It showed for a brief minute and it was super fast at picking it up. There you go, limited. So if you guys want to show limited on your gasser or just premium cluster, it will show also. Okay, so I'm gonna put all the trim back in here. I'm sure you guys can figure out how to do the reverse steps of everything. So put our screws back in that hold the cluster, and then we'll put that trim piece that goes here with the two screws, and then the rest of the trim will just pop back into place with all those speed clips. All right, well, that's gonna be a wrap for the video, you guys. So that hopefully answers a lot of questions about the different gauge clusters available for the 5th gen HD Ram pickup trucks. So if there's any additional questions or anything else you guys want me to do or test or show for you guys, definitely let me know down in the comments and I can do my best to make another video for you guys. But yeah, I didn't have these answers. Hopefully this answered quite a bit for you guys. And if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Also head over to shopboosted.com. We got a lot of parts, products, and services for you guys that you guys can check out. And don't forget to check out the other videos on the channel. We're doing a lot of stuff. We've done tons of stuff on 4th gen trucks, Ram trucks in general, and we are doing a lot of stuff on this 5th gen as well. So thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Catch you guys in the next video.